Boogity, boogity, boogity. Did that scare anybody? Hopefully you both shit your pants. Dang it, I'll fix the description. Yes, we are live. See, Tom knows the rules. He knows that we don't, use what's in the description. So, let's see. Let's get this set up here. Got some smudges on my lenses. For a second. Okay. Let's do it. Also, what's my volume at here? Way too high. Sick. Love it. Guess what? Crap, wrong button. You got a call back from the people and they said that they do want to hire you. Close. It is a lot of water. I will fix the description once I go in to change the whatevers. We're gonna stop it here because it's right at the edge of ranges, really. Says departure. Let's do this one over here. Says departure. We're going to do what I haven't done in a while. 145. With a gold livery. Because it's fucking extra. And I don't have all the rescue stuff on the side of it. So we should be able to maintain a little bit of speed. 130. We did 130 like 2 days ago. I think that was the day that you weren't here, actually. The R22. Yeah, we did the 130 the day that you decided that you didn't want to be friends with us anymore. I gotta do arrival first. Or actually, I need to do... get all that live. And then... set this down here, because we're going to... this place. With a stop. At this place. Yes, the 145 does have autopilot. That's the reason. Because it's just straight over the water today. And it's going to be another, make myself sit through this one. Because I'm such a huge fan of the over the waters. And we'll see what it looks out time-wise. Maybe we'll try to shuffle down here. Or kind of along this little chain or something. And that puts us very well within striking distance to here. But, either way. Start flight. Yep, the 145 is made by the Hype Group, or Hype Performance Group, which means they have that same tablet interaction menu. Which is going to be a less saving grace. Also, I've seen like 20 or 30 videos of IC Bass, India Charlie Bravo Alpha Sierra, one of the Switzerland helicopters, and I mean, kind of on a 145 crush here, except it's a Delta 3. This is a D2. Yeah. Shift C. Get settled in here. Get a little bit taller. It's still raining. That's what your guess was. Launch has arrived. Lunch. I thought you said launch. Old man, you ready for this? Let's see. I forgot there's so many switches in this one. Crumbled calamari. I think the transfers need to be on. Nope, stop that rotating shit. Nope. Back up SAS. Bus ties, yeah, we gotta go all the way up here. We got to just stay off. Let's see. I believe it has autopilot. We'll find out. Okay, General Santos. This is helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey on the ramp for its south departure. General Santos Tower. Cool, thank you for the clearance already, guys. That was so quick. Why is the autopilot not freaking... Another thing up here I need to do. guess it's just being weird. Okay, but anyways. Not super concerned. Move my chair way further forward before we started. It's too far forward. No way we're at fucking 1,000 feet here. Yeah, we're at 500 feet. I'm actually going to get down here over the water real quick and fix the altimeter. We were way off there. Why didn't you set that up before I got in the helicopter? Cunt. Oh, the boats are back. I guess I did turn them back on for whatever point yesterday. Phil. Hey, Phil. Okay, so let's see. This. Like 550. Like 600 radar altimeter. Try to match radar to barometric. Okay, cool. Sick. Alt A, take that up to 1,000, please. Vertical speed, heading. We'll get back on path. Well, let's see, this will hold us first. Heading. Yes, I know my hands are on currently. Trying to get you relatively set up there. Get my speed all the way up to 100 or something like that. Oop. I'm going to take my hands off the collective or the cyclic right now. I should have tested this in this helicopter before. That would have been too smart. Nope, something's not right with the settings. Whoop. Okay, let's go. Put her down in the field real quick so I can look at these settings. Shut up, you're not asking that much power. Hey there, Collector. Why are you being fucking silly? Hold up a second. You need to chill your shit, 145. Okay, let's see. Okay, so motion rate, I think, is what we need. Because it looked like it was waiting for it to like self-center into the dead zone before it would pick up autopilot stuff. Yeah. Oh, the little turbines are in the yellow of your torque settings? Oh no. Somebody's asking you to do your job a little bit? Oh no. Sorry, I was getting rid of my stick from... Hopefully we'll figure this out before we get off the island, you know? That'd be sick. I don't have hands on right now. I don't know what you're doing. I mean, I do now, but... It's got my altitude doing the right thing. Shut up. It's chasing speed. Trying to get the power to be slightly down on that. Oh no. Nope. Nope. Chill your shit, bud. Chill your shit. Shut up. Nope, I'm not doing anything. I'm not touching it. Goodness, come on. So the 160 has a setting where it's like a non-self-centering autopilot thing. But why does it think my hands are on right now? They're not. Nope, my hands are not on. Ugh. What do I put none? Is that a thing? Fit fixing heading? Sorry guys, y'all are in for a ride right now. I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, so now it looks like... No, I still can take over, okay. And not touch it for a second. I'm just helicopter crew. Who's going to ask questions? You. V&E. Max speed or max safe speed? What was abbreviated though? Is that a notepad on the dash? Or it's a notepad of some sort, but I don't think I can touch it. I think it's just part of the modeling. Orange Jeep in here. What is the type of rotor system on the Airbus H? Semi-rigid rotors. Okay, cool. Well, you're going to learn about helicopters today. Okay, I want to diddle around with this a little bit more and ignore the chat for a second while I'm making sure this is all hunky-dory. See if it will take commands. Okay, it seems to be taking commands. I do want to give him a little bit of altitude on the off chance that I do bump my controller and I can jump in there and fix anything if needed. A pretty big island right there. That can't be one that's close. "5,000 feet. When is the aircraft most likely to experience a stall? I'm going to say when landing or slow speed turns. Taking up to 5,000. Got a 200 foot per minute climb, nice and easy, because we're already near the top of our controls of everything. Wow. That would explain. That's why you do checklists. Takeoff and landing. Check. Nice. Give her a couple of clicks. Left. Okay, yeah, so that's that island right there. I'm about to say, I doubt that we can see any of the islands from here, because we have 100-something miles. Come on, ask Tom American FAA questions. Don't give him that universal stuff. What far aim part dictates what you can do as a private pilot? How about that? Automatic terminal information service. Oh. Sorry if I'm mildly out of it today. That's why I'm not exactly minding this this flight, you know. Relatively easy to sit down and chill out. Small little tailwind now, but we're gaining altitude. About what you ask. Oh no, I asked like what part of the far aim dictates what you can do as a private pilot in the United States. I'm just throwing FAA questions at you. Non-Australian administrative questions. Crossing 2,000 feet. What is the FAA? What is the maximum speed an aircraft can go under 10,000 feet? 249, good. Good. Big old 250 speed limit. And it's a limit, not a cruise at this speed. Oh. So I gave my neighbor today part of my secret product that y'all are unaware of for them to try. So I can get their opinions before I start putting too much into it. He gives himself that little bit of that 1 knot indicated airspeed buffer so that way he doesn't get pulled over. Because he's aware that when you pull over in the sky, if you're doing fixed wing stuff, which means you're capable of doing 250, that if you pull over then you stall, and that's not good because you don't want to get pulled over while you're flying. Get a V-22. Yeah, dude, what are you doing? Just get a V-22. Easy. Yeah, the book is unpick-upable. What is that? Push for air, push for defog, ground power, Hey, look, I have cameras. Let's see what we're doing. That's cool. Oh, since we didn't do the takeoff path, it's not giving us that. Oh well. Oh well. We're at 3,300 feet, still climbing. Check back on chat real quick. Yeah, that 1 knot buffer can save you there. Yeah, just fly a stealth fighter. Easy. Then they can't ident you. Oh, what are you gonna do? I'm flying outside of a mode C zone. You know, my transponder's not even on. Don't even have to legally have one out here. Get wrecked. Ew, these clouds. Gross. Looks like we're gonna be in the soup up here, boys. Yeah, I like that, for especially going into the soup over the water. I'd rather keep the ground down, you know? So I'm trying to off peripheral vision which color blue I want. I'm just going to guess we're in East USA. I don't want to pause. Forgot to check the servers. Indonesia made interesting. Save. Cool. We're at 3,900 feet and climbing still. Tailwind. Dang it, I got this freaking thing. Give me a second. Uh, 5 miles an hour. 5 knots, something like that. Yeah, oh no, we got a full flag there, so 10. Ground speed 133. We're doing like 118, so I don't know, 11-ish. 10, 11 knots. I've got the pilot set to faster, but I'm just letting it do its thing. We're gonna look that's exciting for you guys. Not you, obviously. Hey, babe. What are you doing back there? Hey. 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 Okay. Who are you? She's okay. I like her in here. What is a mile per hour? I'll tell you what it is. It ain't the fucking metric system. No, it's... I understand. metric and standard. The big thing for me is, standards kind of put in a way that you can understand as a human. Metric is put a way that you can understand as a science. Which, if you can understand the science as a normal person, then cool, no big deal. But you talk about pounds and stuff, and like, cool, 1 pound is equal to a lot of like standard foods and objects and stuff like that, so it's an easier way to measure like standard foods. Miles, like really measured on. Why are you fighting so hard to gain altitude right now? Chill, dog. But a mile set to like what, something that you can walk in like 10 minutes or something like that. Like everything's kind of put in a way that the normal person can just be like, okay, cool, done. I know how to measure this because I'm a human and I have a foot attached to the bottom of my body, and guess what? On a normal average male, your foot is 1 foot long. Guess what? It's a good way to estimate stuff, and especially back when there was no set parameters, you could get stuff a lot easier, or get an idea of what stuff was a lot simpler because of that. Yeah, metric's also nice because it's precise, and you don't have weird fractions, or not weird fractions, like, or yeah, the weird fractions and shit with standard measurements. Like, cool, say an inch is as wide as your finger, and you can measure your finger width and do 3 hands wide, and that's typically a foot. And you can measure that against your foot, or you can measure that against your forearm, and like there's a lot of different ways to understand standard measurements. Oh my god, it's hot. What's a hot number? 100 degrees. 100 degrees is pretty fucking hot. Not as hot as it normally is. Like, we get 110 sometimes here. Your foot's 1 foot long. Welcome to the standard system of measurements, buddy. Hey, we're getting our speed in now. Ground speed 143. But yeah, so there's a lot of little things like that. Like, what's cold? 0. 0 cold, 100 hot. Of course, things can get way hotter. Boiling at sea level is 212. I'm like, okay, cool, that's a weird number. So obviously the metric system makes more sense when scientifically talking about the boiling point of water at sea level. But for like a normal human to say 100 is hot, easy enough. 50, kind of mid. 0, cold. It's more of a common sense measurement system. Just do the math. And there's like a whole list of reasons why 1 gallon's this, 1 pound is that. Like there's a whole bunch of course now they've quantified it. So it can, even if it were to be, even if you were to delete every single reference physically of what a pound is, like throw away every single scale, every single weight, anything that could be converted to a pound, they now have it like, of course they have it in the science version, the kilogram. They're like 1 kilogram is the weight of X amount of silica atoms. So what they did, they made a ball of silica atoms where at a certain diameter or circumference, this ball of silica would weigh exactly that. And they made what's, I think, known to be the smoothest surface that humans have ever produced. And that's that ball. And it would be like if you were to expand the ball up to the size of the Earth, like the biggest undulation in discrepancy of like elevation on it would be like 3 inches. So the world would be perfectly smooth except for like it's either like 3 or 12-inch waves, and those waves would be like every few miles or so it's like an unnoticeable waviness, but like that's how accurate they made this ball of silica atoms to say like, okay, cool, this amount of silica things is what a kilogram is, and you can convert to whatever from there. Or like 1 second is however many times a whatever atom can like vibrate, or however many times the charge or something oscillates, or it's something where it's like you don't need another measurement to get that one. Just like the speed of light. Or it's also where you can start with nothing and get to something. As long as you have a way to measure it, you can get to something. So it's like, okay, cool, if an atom needs to vibrate 10,000 times in 1 second, then they find that atom and they find a way to measure it to figure out how it can vibrate 10,000 shakes, and they say, oh, that 10,000 shakes took exactly 1/1000 long, and that's your 1 second. And then they can start moving everything else off of that. And just like I say, I think like a meter is the distance that the speed of light travels in a vacuum in 1 second, so they have to pull that off in the second, and whatever the measurement for the second is. And your foot isn't a foot, is it bigger or smaller? Do I get to call you a manlet? That's the question. What is my nose doing today? Weird. Yeah, your foot's close to a foot. And your stride, typically, if you're like a 5'10" to 6'2" L, your stride's typically a yard or a meter. Ground speed 148, airspeed 130. Not bad, and I can see land up here. Land ho. We will take it. Are we on fuel? Good, good. Yeah, I've seen, as far as like officially measured temperatures, I think I've seen like 112 here before. 112, 113. In a parking lot though, I've seen like 130 in the car, whenever the car has a thermometer. And that's just the pure reflection of fucking death. You go to Phoenix, Arizona, it gets like just 120 air temp without like a reflective area. It's like 100 degrees, 120 in the shade. It's fucking stupid. Phoenix happens to be one of the dumbest cities. Arizona in general, fuck that state. Only neat thing about it's the Grand Canyon, but then fuck the Grand Canyon. Oh, look at y'all. Y'all are doing little conversions for each other. They're cute. It's always funny when helicopter pilots I DM start chatting to me, because I'll find like some like the chief pilots and shit from all the big companies start following them and commenting on all their shit. Oh, who's gonna buy the Sydney Sweeney soap? Yeah, that's miserable. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney soap, boys. I say we all get it. It's worth it. But honestly, though, like, yeah, sure, she's attractive. But I also think she's a bit of a prey. And she's not exactly a, oh, there's a little piece of land out there. They are on the map. Yeah, even though she's attractive, if you look in nature, something that's prevalent in nature is predators tend to have their eyes closer together because they're focused on hunting. You know, they're not worried about something else getting them. And prey typically have eyes further set apart. And something I've seen on a lot of different, like, peoples and personalities and stuff, you can tell a lot by a person's personality by how far apart their eyes are set. And of course there are exceptions and there's different things and genetics and whatever, but in general, like, people who have closer set together eyes, they're a bit more aggressive, a bit more go-getters, a bit less scared of everything. People with wider set eyes, they're a bit more standoffish, or they try to come up with other ways to whatever. And she has wider set eyes because she's good to look at, but she doesn't have any other fighting skills. You know, she can't. No, so she did an ad with them, with Dr. Squatch, the soap company, where she was in a bathtub, and then they took the bath water that she was in and mixed it into a soap that they're selling. Limited edition, obviously, because there's not an endless supply of Sweeney soap. But I think it's like $600 for a fucking bar. It's something ludicrous. I've only seen memes about it. I haven't looked it up. It's like, yeah, she's hot, but her eyes are kind of set far apart. She looks mildly Down syndrome-ish to me. You cover up her face, cool, Sydney Sweeney, bad bitch. But something about her throws me off just a bit. I don't know. I know I've seen a few other people talk about that. I'll just call it a genetic signature. But also, like, you'll notice, like, girls who tend to be tougher, they usually have the much narrower set eyes, although they might not be as attractive where people are just, like, swooning over them. But the people where people are swooning over them tend to have wider set eyes, and I feel it's like their body developed, or their genetics developed, like, oh man, well, we're not going to go catch any food today, so we better have a nice rack, so that way we can convince people to get food for us. Also, I got 8 people in here listening to me rant about Sydney Sweeney's wide set eyes and how she's a prey and not a predator. Welcome, everybody. It didn't drop down to 3 immediately. Sorry, y'all had to sit through that. I mean, some of that shit's so stupid, like, what was her? Belle Delphine, the, internet anime girlfriend, OnlyFans porn star chick, whatever. How she sold her a bath water. I saw a dude that had bought that and boiled some fucking, like, cheap-ass hot dogs in it and ate them. I enjoy the people who don't take it seriously and treat it as a meme and get a couple of views and a couple of laughs about it. It's much more entertaining for me. You got time, you're not going to buy Sydney Sweeney bathwater? Look, I'll buy some, and I'll trade you a helicopter for it. I'll buy out the company. I'll buy out Ocean View with 6 jars of Sydney Sweeney bathwater soap. I think it's a fair trade. I wonder if they'll be able to, anybody will be able to like extract the DNA or something from there. Because part of me feels like they would legally have to boil it and sanitize it and run it through like UV sanitizing stations and stuff like that. What, you sure? I think it's a good deal, dude. I think you're missing out. Also, I'm thinking about reopening one of my old defunct, well, not defunct, just I never took it seriously, one of my older business ventures. My neighbor's kid, he's 13. I was outside playing with Dino earlier, and him and Dino are buds. So he came over, and he was throwing the ball for Dino, and we were just chatting about whatever. He had his bike, and he was trying to learn how to do balance point wheelies. So I was kind of giving him some tips and different things. And anyway, he's out of school right now for the summer. He's like, let me know if y'all have anything around the house that you need to do to... He's like, there's a lot of houses in the neighborhood where they could use pressure wash driveways, and he'd like seen the sales tactic where it's like, hey, we did some work for a couple of your neighbors, whatever, so we can cut you a deal since we're already out here. We don't have to drive, and we could do your... He was talking about that. I was like, well, see, at that point, like, you're limited to our neighborhood. Let's say there's 100 houses back here, because we're kind of like in a rural, everybody has a bigger chunk of property sort of neighborhood. And it's like, okay, cool, like, yeah, we have that, but not everybody's going to want to get their driveway done. A lot of people have their own pressure washers where they can do it themselves, and let's say out of the 100, maybe 10 people maybe would be in the position to do their pressure washing. Maybe. And then at that point, you have to bring your pressure washer there, which they have a mule, like a Kawasaki mule they can use. Like, you got to do that, and then it's 2, 3, 4 hours of labor, depending on the house, size of the driveway, everything else. So you've got a decent bit of time investment in it, and physical effort invested in it to get to $200, $300, whatever, depending on the size of the driveway and the sections, whatever. And I was like, dude, you should look at headlight polishing and headlight re-clearing. Like, for a lot of vehicles, you know, the headlights get hazy, and people go get like the $20 kit from Turtle Wax or whatever and just polish it up real quick, and then it fades again after 3 months, and then they have to get another kit from Turtle Wax for $20 and polish it again. It was like, offer sanding and do the sanding version of it. Multiple steps, wet sanding, tape off all the paint and everything like that. Do all the steps and do the polishing steps with a buffer or whatever, and then clean it off and do the clear spray on it, and then have a UV lamp thing, harden the paint, harden the clear coat, whatever you want to call it, the sealer, and then after that dries, put a layer of ceramic coating over it as like a double protection, as like It takes 15 minutes per headlight. And in 30 minutes you can make $100. And you can do just like a flat rate. Cool, it's $100 if you're the only person in the area that I'm doing. If you have more than one vehicle, or if like anywhere from like, let's say like 2 or 3 vehicles, and it's like, or 2 or more, we'll say like $80. And if you have 5 or more vehicles, then like $70, you know, because at that point you're kind of already in the thing. And then 5 vehicles, 70, you know, 350, $400, all depending. And most people don't have that many, and if they do, they don't care about the headlights, they're too new, blah 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 blah, whatever. It's like you can make a substantial bit more money, and you can do it with a lot less effort. All you need is little power tools, you know, a fucking power drill with a little arbor and a wet sanding disc backing attachment to it. It's like if you really push, you can make over $1,000 a day. Because you're looking at $200 an hour. If you do 15 minutes per headlight, and then so that's 30 minutes a car, and then 2 cars an hour, 8-hour day. You know, like you can do a substantial amount of work during the day if you're able to line it all up. And it's like you're only 13 now, so it's not like you're able to drive around and go places. But as soon as you turn 16 and you get your driver's license, you could have that same thing going, and you could have a deal with a couple of dealerships or used car dealerships where it's like, hey, I know that your rate, your shop rate for having an employee do this is $120 an hour, and you pay them 1 hour's worth of work and shop and all this other stuff. It's like I'm offering to come in and do this at a deal for you where anytime you have a car that needs one, I do it for $80, and it should be a 2-year finish, and I'll put a 1-year warranty on it. And I was like, you need to look at doing this, because that's in my opinion, a stronger option for a business, you know, or stronger, easier option for somebody that's going into 9th grade or 10th grade or whatever. Or I think he's going into 9th grade, so I'm starting high school. George Palmer, are you still here? So again, one of my cars, I need to have it done. I was like, hey, let me reorder the paint so I can show you the correct way to do it. And I'll invite you over next week once I have once I'm able to pick up the new paint, and I'll show you how to do it. And I'll pay you for your half or whatever that you do. If you want to do a lot of the supplies and everything, and if you want to, we can go around and tag team it out and make a quick $100 an hour for, or whatever rate, $100 for 30 minutes, and we split it down the middle for anybody in the neighborhood. And if I pick up anybody outside where it's like a dealership, used car dealership, whatever, it's like, if your dad's cool with it, then I can pick you up and we can go right over to wherever, and we can do those, and you can work for me for the summer doing that sort of stuff. You want more trivia? Fuck no. Well, you don't want to talk about car headlight cleaning? And the cool thing with that too, by the way, if you pick up other little skills with that, like leather refinishing, so there's like tears in leather seats, and you can do the little repairs and like little color matches and stuff to get that fixed, or whatever. Used car dealerships will fuck, or any dealership where they have used cars will eat you up for that shit. You could stay busy just with like 2 or 3 dealerships and just kind of circle around one to one to one to one. Northland Air, howdy. Happy Saturday to you as well. last time you said something in here was episode 12. Welcome back. Call him George. We don't know what his first name is. We don't want him to dox himself, but since his name is Georgia Plane Spotting and we know his last name's Palmer, we just call him George Palmer. Look at the little island down there. Look at us. Look at us doing this thing. So cool. How are we looking on this? We are 31 miles from our middle point. At least on this leg. We may add another little sub-leg after we make it to the, been a busy month. Hell yeah, that's what I want to hear. I want all my homies busy. It's the way it should be. You should legally change your name to George. In fact, we're going to ban you if you don't. I better see a revised license whenever we meet up. Oh, also, I double-checked. It is the 7th for the vintage fly-in. Don't know where the hell you got the first from. But yeah, the 7th. So not this weekend, but next weekend. Because today is the 31st? Yeah. So next Saturday, the 7th. If the weather's good, vintage fly-in at Peach State Aerodrome in Williamson, Georgia. In fact, if any of our 7 listeners are here right now, I'll be there. After you find me and introduce yourself to me, it is an open PvP zone. So if you want to try an assassination, you can go for it. Best of luck. If you win, you can legally take my PC and my simulator setup. It's up for grabs. And you can just refer back to this part of this stream. First to the 16th. Oh, wow. You better be going somewhere cool. I like how there's an island up here and it's just shrouded in fucking clouds. That's beautiful. Yeah, get on up here. Get to look at some old planes. I don't know how you're going to get everything in your carry-on on the way home, but honestly, I think by the time you pay for a plane ticket and a rental car and all that stuff, you could probably just buy the setup and do it yourself without having to potentially face extradition charges for murder, because I can't guarantee your safety after committing murder. I can just say that you're going to get the setup, you know. Start losing a little bit of altitude as we're getting up closer, so I can see the island, because I do want to stop on the runway here and steal a little bit of fuel. Maybe kick out a couple of passengers and leave the honey back there. That would be nice. No, Starlink, that's for the family. You gotta do your own Starlink. Yeah, you don't have to watch the stream. It's nice that you'll be here. It'll be much appreciated. But if you're busy doing stuff with the family, don't worry about little old Matt. Ground speed 152. Hell yeah. Family needs a Starlink, so that's got to stay. You got to get your own. Plus, once that I assume all the debit cards and such will no longer be a thing. All those accounts will be shut down. As part of the PvPing me, you get the PC, the headset, and the control and all the sim stuff. But the bills aren't going to keep getting paid, so won't be busy with family. Well, bring a board game. Whip their ass in Monopoly. Has anybody studied Monopoly strategies and stuff to be better and win at Monopoly? Or I'm curious if I'm the only one. Apparently, there is strategy to win. Most people don't play by the rulebook. They kind of know what they're supposed to do, and they just hop in and they play, and then blah blah blah, no big deal. But apparently when you play by the rulebook, there's a couple of strategies to really put yourself ahead of the curve. No, you don't get the beef company. My dog gets the beef company, and you don't get the dog either. Well, I am curious what the neighbors are going to say about my product. Because I think it's a decent idea. It seems to have the right upside to it. I just got to master one little production area of it, and the rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. Not worth a PvP match then. Yeah, especially because this is America, and on top of that, this is Georgia, so I carry a gun. And I'm quite well practiced with it. Because occasionally, I do shoot competition. And I do training for other people. So I'm basically paid to be fluent in firearms. So a PvP match, especially where you have to introduce yourself to me beforehand, I'll be on high alert at that point. Gotta be close to the ceiling. Or is it just foggy mess bullshit? Don't want to go too much. Here we are. Breaking through. Very nice. Get us down to 2,000-ish feet. Descending at 1,000 feet a minute. Hell yeah. 8 miles away. Island's finally in sight. Hello. Okay, once we level off here, I'm going to readjust my barometric pressure thing. do that. Okay, let's see if I can slowly grab the controls here. Okay, I've got a cyclic. I've got pedals. I've got heading into airspeed. Turned off. Altitude off. My controls. Kind of heading for the eastern side of this island. Ground speed still 144. Hell yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, y'all got a lot of rules on there, so it's going to be hard for you to get good with it. From tomorrow to the 8th, not the 16th, okay, in Virginia. Virginia's nice. Sucks for any automotive enthusiasts, though. They are super strict on so much shit out there. Yeah, I don't want to beat on Tom's idea of a good shot, because there's different levels of good shot, you know. Like, as somebody who's an avid firearms user, enthusiast, shooter, trainer, whatever the hell you want to call the differences, there's levels to it, you know. It's like, okay, good, can you go to a range and can you be consistent with it, where you're just like, okay, cool, here's a target and go be good with the target. Yeah. A lot of people can be pretty decent with that as long as they understand what they're doing and they understand how to aim, and then most importantly they understand like trigger control and not jerking when they pull the trigger, or anticipating the shot and pushing into it or whatever and letting the firearm fire. When you really start messing people up, though, is when you start putting the timer on them. It's like, okay, cool, like, I want you to have 2 shots within the bullseye-ish area, or like a reduced A zone or something. Is like, I want 5 shots in this area in less than a second and a half. The timer will beep, and that's when you start from your low ready, you do your 5 shots, and that's it. We'll see what your time is and see if you make the par for it. That's when you really start throwing people off. Because in a standard range situation where people usually go just to shoot for fun, they're not under a rush. It's not a, cool, I gotta be here and I gotta be accurate and I gotta be quick. It's just, you show up, you shoot casually, you take your time, you get your bullseyes, you post your Instagram picture, bada bing, bada boom. You start adding timers to it, that's when it gets a bit more difficult. You start elevating your heart rate in that time, then it starts getting even more difficult. And you start getting to different positions to where usually you're used to holding high because of the way it, like at a distance or whatever, to compensate for, let's say, height over bore. But then you start shooting sideways and you realize, cool, your sights are still working the same way, but the bullet's going to be traveling down instead of the other way. Especially like shooting slightly offset at a distance, that's when it really gets really interesting, where my brain still has to really think about like my subsonic 300 blackout bolt action gun suppressor on it. It's legitimately movie quiet, where it's whenever it fires. To hit a shot at 300 yards, I have to hold 12 feet high, because there's so much drop with the ground at 12 feet or at 300 yards, because it's a 200 grain bullet traveling less than the speed of sound. I mean, you're basically throwing a fucking football at the target. Shooting that off canter is a chore because it's so... There's a lot of bullet physics to try to think of while doing that. But then even shooting distances isn't... I don't even say it's not a crazy thing. I don't shoot a lot of distance just because I don't have a lot of distance. I'm in a very heavily wooded area. Very rarely are there big sight lines unless you're talking about roads, and you usually are not allowed to shoot on roads, you know, unless you live in downtown Atlanta. What's this car doing? I'm sitting really far forward in my seat. I'm full left cyclic right now. Where's the fucking wind coming from here? A dead wind. Interesting. Why am I going so far this fucking way? What is going on here? I'm at full left cyclic right now, just so you guys know. I'm gonna put her down real quick just so I can... What are you doing? Are you trying to re-self-center and auto-trim stuff out? The fuck? Turn all you off for a second. That was weird. Okay, so my fuel button does work. It's kind of laggy. No other events that I know of at the moment. Damn right I have a basement. Soundproof. Autopilot not engaged, I'm aware. I'm curious why I was having so much weird input things happening. Off, 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 off. Okay, those are off. Auto trim. I turn you off. Okay, that gives me my... Yeah, I think it had just done so much trim. That I didn't have any left cyclic. And I don't have any buttons set up to untrim. Weird. So when we get to the next one, we're going to need to set the autopilot trim or whatever off as we're coming in. Strange. Anyways, off we go. Does my forward cyclic not fucking work now either? that trim stuff's fucky. Yeah, chill out asking for that much power, you bitch. I don't need that much vertical speed. Chill. There you go. Start slowly asking for more. Yeah, we need to make sure to hit the manual trim release whenever we come in on our final. That was weird. Wasn't expecting that, but I mean, I guess I should expect that. It's kind of what the thing be doing, you know? Hello. It's fun. Hey, Blake, could you hold that for me? Sick. Yeah, take the power. You got it. You got it, baby. Let's do this. What do you think, Tom? Back up to 5,000 feet, or? It's gonna be soupy once we get up here regardless, just because of the, just because of that. Frederico's holding on to over there. You wearing a watch, Frederico? Nope. What a bitch. Oh no, dude! These fucking episodes. I don't know how y'all watch this shit, anyways. No offense taken. Also, I was thinking last night. Are you saying you don't work out? You should. You should start working out. Start lifting. Go ahead and get that. Get the body thinking in that sort of mentality, or get the brain thinking in that sort of mentality, or whatever. Because I think everything that you do from a younger age will snowball, and it becomes harder and harder to slow that down. If I had never done anything, that I would keep being the 165 that I was at 6'2". And then, who knows, at 45, 50 years old, I probably would have had like some weird little like basketball gut. What engine's using the R22 beta? Yeah, 4,000 to 5,000. No, you need to do some weight training. Weight training is irreplaceable. It's a Lycoming 240 IO or something like that. I want to say Lycoming something. Oh, more intense, yeah, but cardio-wise, you get a little bit of soreness and a little bit of like, because I've done some mini moto racing of like the race bikes, not the off-road ones, but like the street tire, drag your knee, mini moto stuff. I've done a handful of that, and I did motorcycle racing for a bit, but nothing can really replace making your body move weights, making it do stuff like that. Oh, 320, okay. And 360 in the beta too. That's right, I was thinking fucking horsepower numbers, not displacement numbers. Because I'm over here going like, okay, yeah, IO 360 is way too much horsepower for a fucking Robinson R22, which is like 180. It's like, I don't know the Lycoming 180. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard of a 240 though, I believe. But now I was thinking horsepower shit, not fucking displacement. But yeah, they're big fucking engines. People don't realize that. Aviation engines are fucking big displacement shit. But also very low power. Comparatively. You know, like a Chevrolet pickup truck. They had the option for a 4.8 liter V8. But it's like 300 something horsepower, you know, or like a fucking 6.2 liter Chevrolet Camaro, or a 5 liter. Yeah, 5 liter Ford Mustang now is like 460 horsepower or something from the fucking factory. But you look at a 5 liter air, or like, let's say I think it's a 540 engine that's available in like some twin engine planes and stuff like that. But it's like 210 horsepower. It's got this huge displacement engine. 500 cubic inches. But it's like 200 or 300 horsepower. And a 6-cylinder. So they got these huge pistons that have very long strokes. Or smaller pistons, long strokes. Not small comparatively. Anyways, high torque, lower horsepower, but reliable engines because it keeps the piston speed at 2,500 RPM, 2,700 RPM, whatever the engine's rated to at power levels and such. That they stay very, very cool, very efficient, very low wear on all the parts and bits and pieces and stuff like that. My workout beer, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody has their own personal decisions and choices on how they do it, what their thing is, what their goals are. Like I had said in the chat a couple of times on the past few episodes, I mean, I was 30 years old, and I was 6'2" and 165 pounds, just skinny, tall man. Not necessarily weak, sure as shit not strong. And said, you know what? I actually want to be not at a victim weight, which I consider 200. Even though right now I'm keeping myself 200 or under, just because apparently all the CFIs around me are on the heavier side, and they don't want you flying an R22 with them if you're over 200 pounds. So I'm keeping myself under 200 for the time being. But I wanted to be over 200, and I wanted to be like under a certain amount of body fat for given times in my cycle, whether it's bulking or cutting or whatever. But it's like I wanted to be that big. I wanted to have I have different goals for my weightlifting that I'd like to do. I'm there for deadlift. I can deadlift what I would like to. I can't squat what I'd like to yet, and I don't bench what I'd like to yet. And mostly that's because I work out alone. There's nobody here spotting me. There's nobody making sure that I'm not dropping something on my fucking head. So, I kind of have to make sure that I'm not going to die, so I don't push as hard as what other people do or what other people can. I'm sure if I did live closer to people and I was able to have a gym buddy and go to the gym relatively regularly, then, or go to a, oh, I touched one of my fucking controller's joysticks, which for some reason are fucking hooked up to this. The Owen IO540 is only 205 horsepower at 2,700 RPM. Like I said, they're giant fucking engines. And they make decent torque. Not a whole bunch of torque, but they make okay torque. But the big thing is, like, the torque curve is relatively flat throughout the thing, so it's predictable. But the big thing is it's like all the speeds inside the engine. The oil pump, rotational speeds. Like, everything is built to be like, okay, cool, as low impact as it can be. Cars, they can kind of push a bit harder, because if you break down, you pull over. You know, you're in a fucking aircraft doing it, and guess what, you're squawking 7,500 and you're trying to find a place to go down. A whole bunch of rules and just trying to make them work as cleanly and as smoothly and as least intrusively as they can, you know? Which I get. Is this a rain cloud? Nope. Just a normal cloud. We're still going up. We're at 4,200 feet and working our way upwards. So, Northland Air, what's new with you? I basically know Tom's whole life story now. Same with George Palmer. Well, not really, but I talk to them every day. What's new with you? What's going on with Northland Air today? Or in the past? How is life going for you? What's new? But yeah, the 540, I think it's a super solid engine. I know a lot of kit planes, a lot of fucking aircraft use that engine, of course, in different configurations for helicopters or our normal fixed wing stuff. I want to say it's an IO540 that's in the Sling High Wing that they did the cross-Atlantic flight with, that YouTube guy. I'll probably throw a few more knots of airspeed. Slowly just creep that up. Let it equalize, because it's still trying to take us up in altitude as well. Hey, not much. Things are good. Good way to be. You get your whole schedule and whatever figured out, and you're fighting hard now since we're past the altitude chasing, and now you're just altitude getting. So my vertical speed means nothing. Yeah, you hit your stride, you fucking head down, you keep chasing it, you know, and it's like, I have people ask me now, like, So, dude, what's new? It's like, nothing fucking new, dude. You know, my shows are over. Y'all know that. Like, I'm basically sitting at home hibernating, not going out. I'm working on my own little projects and stuff, but they're all kind of long-term things that I'm working on or doing, so it's nothing new's happening. Can't really give you an update on anything because there's nothing to update y'all on. Wish y'all would stop asking me what's going on new here, because it's absolutely nothing. Just went back to 2020. So tired of the 24 BS. Tried XP, but I just don't like it, so I'm back in 20 with all of my add-ons and controls working. So yeah, life is good. Yeah, 2024, for what I'm doing, I haven't had many issues. I think my biggest issues, of course, I'm not running many add-ons. I'm running a few add-on helicopters. I got the Hype Group 145-160. I've got the Taux Hanger Huey, but it, for some reason, isn't playing right with 2024. The Fly Inside Bell 206, I really like that helicopter, but it's not playing well with 2024 for me. I also haven't tried to see what's been fixed in recent updates or whatever, but that's beside the point. And then the Cowan Sim, I've got their R22, their 206L, their 206B, their MD500, and their Bell 222 Bravo. Other than that, I really don't think I have any add-ons. I think I have the Atlanta scenery pack, just because Atlanta's my home area. I have the Micaiah Head scenery pack because it's Cletus's airport. Which I saw there was an update, so maybe it's fixed now, so we can go back to that eventually on a shenanigan day. Oh cool, we can already see that down there. Nice. I don't really have like add-ons. Like I know a lot of airline simmers and stuff, they have a shit ton of different add-ons for different things, sound packs and weather and the AI ATC, and there's just loads of stuff that they do. And that's cool. I get it. You know, that's their thing. But for me, it's literally just the aircraft. If the aircraft's not working, I'm not using it in the series. Simple as. What does MGT and TOT stand for? TOT is turbine outlet temperature, and MGT would it be main gas, main gear temperature? No, EGT is exhaust gas. That's an automotive thing. I forget what MGT is. Measured gas temperature. Yeah, I think measured gas. Anyways, yeah, so I'm not really using any add-on. Yeah, measured gas, yeah. You type that, or I saw your message pop up just after I said it. Anyways, yeah, I'm not really using any add-ons other than the helicopters itself, and if it doesn't work, just like I said, the 206 from Fly Inside, which has a really good flight model. I really enjoy that. It just hasn't ever played well with me on here. Maybe after we land, we'll try that, and we'll try, see if Micaiah Heads fixed itself down there in Florida since there was an update for it. What's our ground speed? 139, we can milk more. So I'm not really doing any add-ons, so I don't have anything to really break. It's like, yeah, I wish that I could get the 206 from them working, and the Huey, because the Huey would be nice, because it'd really give us a different flying experience for some of these days. Especially getting the sound. The sound's the big thing for the Huey for me. The fly-in side 206 is really good sound too, surprisingly better than all the other. As far as like the non-Huey chukka blade slap sound, I think the fly-in side Bell 206 has the best turbine startup sound out of all the ones in the game. And the thing is, like, they paid a lot of attention to it too, where it's like, okay, cool, if you move the throttle handle at the wrong N1 whenever you're starting up, then, and if you're not like actively watching the turbine outlet, you can have a hot start and it's like, sorry, you fried your engine, you want to try it again? And it will restart you because you fucking toasted your engine. Or like continue and like ignore the engine damage or whatever. So they put a lot of effort in that one, and it flies different, not too different than the Cowanson 206. What other helicopter? Oh yeah, so I was watching a video today. I forget the name of the guy on YouTube, but I feel like I've seen one of his videos before. I think he's a current or former Black Hawk pilot, but he he was talking about like why the U.S. military doesn't have any new helicopters. And question 5. In the R-44, the V&E speed decreases by blank knots when the doors are removed. A 25 knots B14, C10, or D8. I want to say it's 10 knots. I also haven't looked into the R-44 stuff too much yet. There is the free R-44 course in the helicopter online ground school thing, but I haven't touched into that yet. That used to be me until I found helicopters haven't been in a tub liner in over 6 months. FS24 did get me into helicopters, so I brought some heli controls, and I haven't looked back. Bought some heli controls, haven't looked back. But yeah, I'll say helicopter flying is so much more fun. Obviously, right now I'm running autopilot. That's the reason I'm doing the Hype 145 over the water. It's either this or the 160 for these basically purely over the water days. Just because I don't want to have to fucking straight and level for this long. I don't want to do plane simulator. For the over the ground days, we're usually flying at 500 feet AGL and exploring and checking out sites and looking at houses and roads and stuff like that. Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. 10 knots. I want to say I heard somebody talk about something, or maybe I heard it in a helicopter podcast or something one time. But yeah, 10 knots. Cool. Surprised that the Tower QE isn't working in 24 for you. So the thing that's not working for me, which I need to try something different, because what's happening, I go through the full start procedure. I do it by the book. I have their PDF pulled up and I go through and I do it by the book. 30 seconds into it running, I get either oil or transmission or gearbox temperature increase, and then I lose oil pressure within like a minute of flight. If I start it already running, it does fine, but I like to do cold starts. I can't figure it out. So my theory is, because we figured this out on the R66. Yeah, the R66 wasn't starting right for me, because on my cyclic I have a button on the side for my actual peripherals here. I've got a button on the side and I have that mapped as my starter. But whenever I was using the button there, or using the actual throttle on my collective, it wasn't doing the startup procedure right for the R66. So I have to actually go and press the starter button on the front of the collective in the game and then I have to actuate the throttle using my mouse or whatever in the game instead of using my peripherals. And then it'll work. And same thing with the Bell 407. It was not working for me, but then I tried using the actual clicking the starter button instead of clicking my starter button, and it worked. And I keep doing the Bell, the Huey. I keep doing it by pressing the starter button on my collective, or on my cycle, my peripheral button. So I need to go back in and try it where I'm actually clicking the starter button that's here in the game instead, to see if that does something for me. It also varies depending on temperatures and altitudes. You deleted all of it because you don't want to put false information out. Tom's acting like a CF. Well, why'd you crash? Well, I was going this fast because, I mean, it was cold outside and the air was super, super dense, and we were at a lower altitude. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I can usually go 120 knots. I'm just going to go 110 because Tom said I could. Then they're going to come for you. Tom's covering his ass. Yeah, so I think that is the issue with the Huey. So after we land tonight, I don't want to really shenanigan much and fly around and do stuff. My friend's birthday is tomorrow, or I think it's today, but we're doing a little surprise thing for him tomorrow. So I've got to wake up at a earlier time and get up and drive like an hour and a half and go wait there for a surprise. So I was thinking about continuing this trip past the water, but I think we're just going to water stay and kind of make it settle on this being a more boring stream compared to other ones. But that happens. We're flying around the world. There's going to be slow days. But we might do a shenanigan thing with the flying side Bell 206. We'll do the Taux Hanger Huey first, because the Bell 206 from the flying side, it would freeze the game and crash the game, and I don't want to crash it yet. I want to do the Taux Hanger first and see if just using their starter button does it for me. But yeah, fingers crossed, like you do there, fingers crossed. Because if that works, then we're going to have a Huey trip, especially once we work into Southeast Asia and off the islands. Although it won't be, I don't think we're touching Vietnam, sadly. Yeah, we'd have to detour a little bit to touch Vietnam. Because we're coming, I'd much rather do Thailand than Vietnam, because I have a friend who's a travel tour vlogger on YouTube, who goes out there for automotive stuff. Like, he's a big photographer for like Super Street magazine and stuff like that, back when it was a thing. And then he decided he wanted to do YouTube stuff, so he went out to Thailand because he had contacts out there, and they brought him to all the car events. And Thailand's got a wickedly good car culture. Like, I want to go out there just for the car culture. But he's done some like scooter motorbike tours of Thailand. It's just, it looks like a very, very beautiful country. So we're doing Thailand for sure. I don't know if I want to scoot all the way over there to Vietnam just for the Huey in Vietnam joke, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see. The stream is young. We still have some days until we get to that. Probably like 2 weeks. Well, I think after today, Tom, since I want to make this a shorter one, I think it's going to be 2 days to the south of Papua New Guinea. Let's see, I've got this here, so we can bench race right here. So I'm thinking after we land here, I'm going to do a 1 day long one down here, which it should be bad because we have islands and shit to look at. But I figure we'll end down here somewhere. and the next day we'll get down here. So 2 days, and then we could make it to Australia the end of that day, or stop here and do a jump over. But I think the end of 3 streams from now, I think we could be in the northern tip of Australia there. So I think it'd be safe to say 2 weeks, and we could be leaving Australia, or 2 weeks worth of streams. Potentially. Maybe a little bit more. Either way, two-ish weeks and we could be leaving Australia. So we have 2 to 3 weeks to figure out if we're gonna jump in Vietnam for a day just to go tuka. Those here American Hueys were all over Southeast Asia, not just Vietnam. So good. Okay, cool. Hell yeah. We're gonna tuka over Vietnam for sure. Or Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, all of them. They all get the tukas. Q5, what is the V&E on the R22 Beta 2, R44 Raven 1, and R66 Turbine Marine? 102, 130, 110, 130, 140, 102, 130, 130, 103, 140, 140. I'm gonna say C, 10, no, B, 110, 130, 140. I'm just trying to think what the R22 that I have downloaded has as a top speed on their gauge. And I want to say it's 110, because I want to say I cruise it pretty quickly since it actually seems to have power where the little fucking gumball Cabri doesn't. Oh, it is 103? I was thinking 130, 130, which that's why I was doing that one, not because of the 22 thing. I was trying to think of what the difference is on the 66 Marine was. I didn't know it was just with the float option or whatever. So I was thinking lower V&E with the floats or with whatever other modifications it would need to be the Marine version. So that's what I was kind of basing it on, but then I was like, okay, cool. So I was between B and C, and then I was thinking, man, I just feel like I go faster than 102, or I see a faster red line on the airspeed gauge for the 22. So I was going off of that. That was my reasoning, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not upset that I was wrong. I'm always here to learn. But if you're still in here, Northland, there, what controls did you get? I'm curious. What's your control setup to fly your helicopters? Did you just get like normal HOTAS airplane controls and run the collective on the throttle quadrant, or did you actually get something with a collective and proper cyclic? Okay, cool. So yeah, I knew the standard 66 was 140. But I didn't know if that was going to be a trick question or not. I forgot to kick everybody out except for old Honey back there. Dang it. 44s are 130 except for the Cadet, which is 120. I need to start price shopping 44s. I'd really only price shop the 22s. Just because that would be obviously easier to get into, money-wise. But I've been doing more talking to my friend. I'll be talking to him more tomorrow. It's my friend who's the AMPIA that works on private jets and stuff. About what we were talking about yesterday of hiring him on as a part of the company to do maintenance when I need it, and then I can also work under him to get my A&P. But then also I'd definitely be flying him back and forth to his private jet job, because he lives an hour or so. Of course, they work in an airport. He lives near another airport also, so it'd be pretty easy to pick him up and do an airport-to-airport transfer, even though we would be going through Hartsfield-Jackson's airspace here in Atlanta. But still, I mean, even avoiding the airspace in the appropriate ways, it's still like 3 times faster to fly up there. And if I'm doing it as a CFI and he wants to learn, then it's getting him his licensing and everything as well, so it'd be a win-win to have a 44. 22 wouldn't be bad, but a 44 to have air conditioning and the ability to also lease it out to places and do like some Part 135 touring and shit like that. Pro flight trainer Spendy, but I'm old and no commitment, so why not? Love them, makes it so much more fun. Yeah, isn't it the Puma? Am I mistaken? Is it the Puma Pro Flight X or something like that? I think they're like, what, $2,000-ish for that setup? I'm trying to remember. I don't fucking remember anything. I got mine and I stopped looking because I was like, okay, cool. I've got stuff that works now and I'm happy with it. I've got the, if you don't remember, I've got the Apache Simulators R44 set up. Because I wanted to be used to having the T-bar controls for my training, which would most, like 99% chance it's going to be in an R22 and R44. So I wanted something that was going to get me used to how that feels different than a standard cyclic. But yeah, the Puma stuff, for some reason, looking up controls, I didn't see Puma during my initial searching. I don't think I heard about Puma until I already signed up for the pre-order for their, because they make this particular control setup in batches. And it was a fully, like, there was a no commitment pre-order, so it's like I didn't have to send them anything up front, but it was I didn't want to back out because I wanted to learn the T-bar setup. Puma X, went a little over 17, which is still not bad. I paid $1,200 to $1,300 for mine, plus shipping from Italy, which is like $150 DHL, like 2-day shipping. So I'm 1,500-ish in, is what I say. Because I spent $2,000 on my computer, building it, $1,500 on controls, and $500 on VR and cables and shit like that. So I'm like $4,000 deep total. The big thing now I need to do, I need to find a chair set up. I need to make a better seat. Because I've still got 70 days worth of fucking flying to do, at least, minimum. And I'm in like an old office chair that you couldn't give away on Facebook Marketplace sort of thing, so ground speed 142, we can add some more in there. All in one complete, yeah, and that's the way mine is too. It's definitely lacking. I don't have all of the trim buttons and everything else that you would have on like a more high-end cyclic, whether it be like a warfighter cyclic or a battle stick is what I call them, for people that are doing like an Apache. But it would be nice to have like some more controls where I was flying like A-star controls or 130 controls or something. Like that would be nice. But at the same time, like, I'm getting by just fine. And my whole reasoning for this setup in the first place was to learn how to hover, and guess what? I learned how to hover. So I didn't have to get everything top of the line to do that, and any more that I spend is just taking away the benefit of this saving me time on my real thing. Welcome back, George. Yeah, chairs is my next thing to do. What I might end up doing, there's an airplane salvage yard near me. I may see if they ever get any 22 stuff. But if I can get like a little R22 cushion and build a back for it, then I'd be pretty happy with that, because I'm sure as shit not going to find a chair like this for cheap. But also I want to keep it relatively low to the ground as well. Because if it's any taller, then I need to move it out, because my whole setup here is in front of my TV. And my chair, the controls and everything, it's low enough currently to where I don't have to move anything. But if I have anything taller, chair-wise, or bigger, more intrusive or whatever, then I would have to move everything during the setups. Well, what would be the price of the 22-seat, Tom? That's the question. If it's too crazy expensive, it's like I said, there's the difference of price viability for what the setup's giving me. You know, it's like, cool, the way my controls and stuff are, I could mount it to a motion platform, and I could build a $10,000 motion platform where I have like 4 degrees of motion. But then at the same time, it's like, why? Like me spending $10,000 doing that and whatever. And I know a lot of actual R22, R44, whatever seats, even though it's a piece of foam wrapped in vinyl, because it's an aircraft part, it's going to be $50,000 for it. Yeah, 700. See, at that point, then that's a quarter of what I've spent, give or take, plus shipping and stuff. That's a quarter of what I've spent building this setup, and I don't have that much need for that much money. Now, what would be really sick, since you have access, measurements. If I could get from the floor of the helicopter to where the seat is, if I could get the measurement of that, and then like the height, actually I can't adjust my cyclic, but the height of the collective next to the seat, like in relative to where the seat is or whatever, if I can get those, and I guess like how far away the seat is from the pedals, then I could, looking at the adjustments, but yeah, like if I could get those measurements, or like a general layout, like on the floor, so you have your seat, how high the seat is, how far away it is from the pedals, and then from like where the seat meets the floor, how far forward is the cyclic, and then like how far back and how high is the collective. That would be killer, because then I could really move my stuff into like the exact positions, and I can build myself a 22 seat. I've built crazier shit, and for that $700 I can spend $100 on some wood and stuff, or some spare metal I've got at the house, and weld it together, and weld together a seat with the proper height and everything, and kind of have everything where it should be, because I feel like my collective's slightly higher than what it needs to be as far as where it's mounted to the base, but I've got it pretty low. But I also kind of had to bring it up some, because I don't think my seat is as low as what the 22 seat is on the ground of the or on the floor of the helicopter. And what I'll do, like whenever we get in the 22 or 66, I try to make sure all my stuff feels very close. So if I want to reach out and grab the, like if I want to reach out and touch, I want this to be here. And if I want to reach out here and touch the vertical center stick on the T-handle, I want to be able to do that. Did I touch something? Yeah, I touched. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, we're in a fucking thing here. Hold up a second, guys. I fucking smacked my stick on accident. Sorry about that. Let's turn autopilots off real quick. Engines are still spinning. Not much, but we're still spinning. Damn it. That's so fucking annoying. So what that was, I don't think I hit my controls. I think what I did was bump the... whatever. Anyways, it clicked on the screen and just turned my airspeed up to like 200, so it started chasing that. We didn't lose that much altitude, not bad. Okay, so altitude 5,000. Cool, I want that. We're almost there. Heading. Cool, give me the correct heading. And then indicated airspeed. No, fuck you. Bring airspeed way down right now so we can get stabilized, and then I'll push it back up. That was fun. Why are you turning left? No need to do that. Oh, the trim's released, that's why. That should catch itself here. Perfect. I'll let it all stabilize and I'll start pouring speed back into it. Next time I'm at the hangar, if I remember, I'll get some measurements. Yeah, that'd be sick. Highly appreciate it. I actually messaged the Cowan Sim team, since they obviously have 3D scans of everything where they can just fucking measure it. But they never replied. And I don't want to go to the place that I'm doing my training at, because I don't want them to be aware that I have a sim set up, because I want to show up for my first day and them just be like, holy shit, you can fly? Like, that's the goal, obviously. Will that be what happens? Who knows? Maybe I fucking suck. But yeah, so George, what happened was, apparently when I was moving my laser pointer around, it clicked on the airspeed there, and it kept clicking on the airspeed even though I wasn't pointing at it anymore. So it turned my airspeed way up and it was leaning us into the power, and then the correcting of that made it fucking wild. So yeah, that's slightly annoying, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, we got a 20 knot tailwind right now. Let's fucking use it. What am I at here? 63 miles. So yeah, we got about 80 or 90 miles until we get to wherever the fuck we're going. Yeah, I could always call somebody, but I also haven't. So I want to fly more than likely with the one that's near me, just because it would be the wind, maybe? What the fuck was that? Just because they're the most convenient, obviously. But when they gave me their price per hour, it was significantly higher than what the price per hour of the other place was. I still have the email here. Yeah, so this one was... This one's one further away from me. Hello there, Matthew. That's great. We have a lot of students who come to... Because I was like, hey, I'm looking for a second career path to get on my current job, looking for training. kind of trying to plan prices. And while I know people can go over, I want to kind of base my decision on school, since there's a few of them near me, on what the price for a 40-hour would be. And then, of course, if I need to pay more, I'll pay more to get more hours. He said, in general, I tell people to expect to spend $16K on obtaining their private rating. That's assuming you're under 225 pounds and can train the R22. Putting money on the account will save you several $1,000s in the long run, so that's always a good idea if you're in a position to do so. Feel free to call me directly and to get your discovery flight scheduled if you have any questions. So yeah, 16,000. And then the other guy, thanks for reaching out. If you weigh 200, or, he says 200 or less. The other guy said 225. And he was like, the FAA minimums for licensing. Yeah, I'm aware of that. We find that most people complete training on average somewhere between 40s and low 60s hours of flight time. I think 50-55 is a good number to budget. Our pricing is as follows. The instructor fee and fuel, oil. It includes the instructor fee and the fuel and stuff for the aircraft, which is why his prices is higher. R22 standard rate, $410 per hour. They offer a block rate of $3,800 for a 10-hour block for purchasing hours in bulk. When it comes to $380 per hour, you can purchase the full training time this way. R44 standard rate is $615 an hour. So that's with the everything else included. He said budgeting for FAA minimums, 40 hours on the block rate. In the R22 is $15,200. R44 $22,600. Budgeting for 50 hours of flight time is $19,000. And the R44 would be $28,000. So it's like, he says slightly lower, but also I don't know. There's some other things that I'm looking at as well, but like most likely it'll be them just because they're significantly closer. Although I would kind of want to do some work with Prestige as well, the other helicopter place, and the reason I want to do that is because I think they are in the Class Bravo area. Of course, everywhere we'd be flying would be underneath of the Class Bravo, but it's in a Mode C Bravo general area airspace. And it's a towered airport as well. So it'd be really nice to have the experience with a busy towered airport. Yeah, 44 is fine. I mean, I figure it's relatively close enough to seating position. If anything, eventually I'll get into the 22 and get some measurements and stuff to really solidify that, and I'll build a more, I don't say permanent platform for this, but I could build a more solid setup that's not like a chair sitting kind of inside of all of it. Well, see, the thing is, like, Discovery Flight, neat, it's a thing, but in my opinion, it's a waste of money. I'm fully aware that this is what I want to do. If I did a Discovery Flight, I would say, hey, I'm doing this just to make sure that something's not completely fucking wrong. You know, but I don't want it to be treated as a Discovery Flight. I'd rather say, hey, I want to buy a Discovery Flight, and I want to do a 1-hour thing, and I want it to be like my 1-hour first lesson in a helicopter. Like, day one, we're going in and doing a lesson in a helicopter. Like, I want that to be my Discovery Flight. I don't want to spend $200 or $300 for 30 minutes of flying with some showing around, and like, of course I got to pay for my SFAR 73 to be allowed to wiggle the sticks in a Robinson because of the SFAR. But I kind of see the Discovery Flight as a waste of money for me, because I'm not doing it to get into hell. I'm fucking into it. I don't need to be convinced that helicopters are cool. I don't need to be convinced that I want to fly helicopters. It's like, if anything, I'll walk in there with $10,000, $15,000 in cash. It's like, here's my down payment to pay for a full 40 hours worth of flying up front. It's like, I'll peel you off $200 now for a 1 hour discovery flight, or $300 for a 1 hour discovery flight. And if it is what I want, then you get your full payment now. But I don't want to waste the time in a discovery flight because I don't think it'll be worth it. Because like I said, it's what I want to do. I don't want to throw away $200, $300 for nothing. Just give me day one lesson. Let me pay for an hour. Give me day one lesson. Let me pay an hour at the discount rate. And then if it's what I want, then I'll give you the rest of the money now, you know. If it's not what I want, then I'll let you keep that money and I'll go figure out some other way to fucking hang myself, you know. The way these clouds are and the way the helicopter's angle, it feels like we're diving. We're holding altitude and doing everything right. 141 ground speed. But it would be at a KHMP up at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Tier 1 helicopters. Oh, we're now 70 miles from destination. So 30 minutes or so if we keep up a good 140 knot ground speed. Okay, does that make sense on the Discovery flight thing, or am I just fucking talking crazy? I feel like it makes sense to me. I feel like if you're wanting to be in aviation, you're like, well, I'm good at mechanicking, but I also kind of want to fly, and it's like, yeah, then you go do a discovery flight in an airplane, go do a discovery flight in a helicopter, go do hang out with some private jet mechanics or whatever and see what you think of all the different positions. But it's like me, like I'm set, you know, like this is what I want to do. I don't need to be discovered into it. Yep, same tier 1. They've got a couple of locations. I feel like they got another location out of state as well. I don't remember. Either way, that's my thought on the discovery flight. Like, sure, maybe my brother was like, oh, you know, maybe it would be neat to fly helicopters. I don't know. Then like, yeah, go on a discovery flight. Pay your $200 and go out there and have them humble you trying to hover since you never tried in the sim or whatever, and go get at it. But for me, it's like, I'm pretty fucking well decided. Auburn, yeah, that sounds right. I was going to say Alabama, but I know whenever I go to KHMP to just kind of sit and watch planes, plane spot without the camera, you know, the old school way. I've seen Auburn planes come in from like the university's flight program, so I didn't know. I was just fucking, my brain was mixing up tier 1 being in Henry County and then Auburn flying planes in and assuming that there's a tier 1 in Auburn, which it could have very well been. I've mixed shit like that up. I think everybody can mix shit like that up pretty easily if they're not careful. Beep. Keep adding little speeds on there. Watching my torque. Trying to milk as much as I can out of this bad boy. What I'm doing, I'm clicking up on the speed, but I'm watching the our management here. And if the red line gets there, then we're asking too much from the engine. Of course, I am very well aware that we probably over-torqued and broke some stuff during that fucking flip maneuver back there. But, that was a failure of the simulator's controls here. And I'm not going to count that against the aircraft. Yeah, Prestige looks good. Downside is I would have to drive through Atlanta to get up there. So it goes from being a 30-minute drive of back roads and not having to hit the highway. I just kind of cruise up there, do my thing, to an hour and 10 minutes minimum with no traffic. And then of course, if I'm going up there during a fucking traffic time or on a Saturday or whatever, I mean, I've gone to that same area before and spent 2.5 hours on the road. I like how Prestige instructors fly. The aircraft look in good condition. And I think Tier 1 just, they don't have anybody that's good at social media. It used to be... Tier 1 used to be South Atlanta Helicopters. And then they either did a complete rebrand to Tier 1, or it was bought out. And I think the guy who bought it out, Freddie Briggs, I think's his name, been flying for a while from what I understand. But I also think he's slightly older, so he's just not a social media savvy. I think Prestige recently got somebody who is more social media friendly, because on their Instagram they've started posting like 60-second clips from the flights of like the instructor teaching autos down from like a steeper angle, and like, okay, cool, hovering auto, pitch for speed, come in, hit your mark, like normal instructor shit. But they're posting it online versus Tier 1 where they kind of only post people getting their certificate. But also, I don't want anybody to think that my education will stop when I do Tier 1. Let's say that Prestige is a 30% better place. Like 30% better instructors and quality of lessons learned, blah, 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 blah. Well, let's just pretend that. I don't plan on going to Tier 1 and having a 30% lesser. And like I said, it's all hypothetical. If they're watching, I'm not talking shit. I'm just speaking hypotheticals. I'm not going to just get my certificate for private and then salute and sayonara, guys. I'm going to go just fly around forever, or work my way all the way up to CFI and commercial, and then they're like, okay, cool, see you, thank you. I've worked with Fred North, the movie pilot, a good bit, and a handful of other movie pilots on different shows I've worked on. And one thing that they've said is, even once you're licensed and you think you are pretty well set to just start slowly getting yourself in the world, they're like, go to other schools and say like, hey, I'm a private licensed pilot with whatever number of hours. It's like, could I rent a helicopter here and pay for an hour or two of your chief pilot or whoever, and just go fly and have them run you through whatever some of the things that they're best at. You know, maybe they're really, really good at advanced auto rotations. Have them run you through that and get you up to speed for what they can do. Or if you travel to fucking Colorado and we're in Denver and like I'm here at like 900 feet or something at a KHMP. I think it's like 880, 890, 900, somewhere in there. It's like, cool, when you go travel somewhere, guess what? You're a licensed pilot and you can rent a helicopter from places. And a lot of times they want to see that you're either extremely current before they rent to you, or you have a certain number of hours or whatever. Or they say like, cool, let a pilot ride with you real quick, one of our instructors, and see if we can trust you to take a helicopter out. It's like, say, cool, do that, but like, hey, like I want to take my family or friends up tomorrow. But while we do this flight, could you also give me a lesson with flying at these higher altitudes, working through mountains and hills and places that have different wind patterns, because I'm used to just flying in rural Georgia or a city in the southeast, you know? Go fly different places, go learn different airspaces, so you're just not always dealing with the same ATC person whenever you're jumping in and out of airspace. And go do different things. So even if I do go to a school that's 30% lesser quality, even though still federally minimumed, than somewhere else, I still plan on going and renting and buying time from instructors in a lot of different places, because I think there's a huge value to that. Just like when I did driving and drifting and stuff back in the day, it's like, cool, I'd ride with as many people as I could. I'd let as many other professional drivers ride with me and give me pointers and tips and different things, you know, even if it was a completely different aspect of doing stuff, you know. I'd want to get their opinions on what I was doing. Always try to find a way to grow. Just a bit older and rough looking, yeah. Like, I think their whole fleet came from South Atlanta helicopters back when they were a thing. So I gotta plug my phone in. And that's also kind of the reason why I would like to yeah, I'm also going to, before I make the decision, like I said, I'm leaning tier 1 just because they're closer, and that's much better for my sanity. Oh crap, what did I do? Fucking phone. Click my mouse. Yeah, I think if I right click, yeah, it zooms me in. It's weird. I'm looking that way. Strange. But yeah, I do want to talk to both people. I don't want to do a discovery flight necessarily, just because, like I said, I know it's what I want to do. I don't need to spend money on a flight that's not actually teaching me, or not actively being taught as an instruction. I don't need a sales pamphlet flight to sell me on a school. I'd rather talk to the instructors, and I already have a list of questions in one of my notebooks or whatever, talking about maintenance and like guaranteeing that the school will be open if I were to give them $15,000 of down payment money to get my hours in bulk. Like, cool, if I give you that much, who's to say that your school doesn't shut down next week? How do the financials look, you know? Maybe y'all are going under right now, or you don't know it or something. Like, how do I know that my deposit money is not going to fuck myself later? Oh yeah, making sure that they're safe too. Yeah, that's a big thing as well. Like, I'm definitely going to be asking about just culture, to make sure that they're like, oh, we had a little tail strike when we were doing this, or like there's something that went through the blades and we didn't get them fucking particle inspected. Like, no, like I want to make sure that the pilots who work there, the CFIs who are there, and the students that fly understand that, like, cool, if you have an overspeed, fucking say something. No, don't hide it, because you hiding an overspeed could end up killing somebody, and that somebody could be me. So it's I'll definitely be asking about that sort of, what the culture's like there that way, and interviewing that way. Yeah, there will be a decent bit of vetting with it. A huge bit of vetting? I don't know. Decent bit? Yeah, like enough. Like, I'm not going to be like, okay, cool, everybody, I brought a palm reader here. She's going to read all your palms and your tarot cards to make sure that you don't have any death energy in this area. Let me see all of your logbooks. Every single logbook ever. Like, hey, do you keep the logbooks up? What's the maintenance records look like? What's the safety record look like here? You know, the normal questions, but deeper than probably what most people would ask. Because I've been low-key obsessing over this for a year. It's just been a very weird year in film, to where most years I can make six figures into it, you know. Low six figures easily, most years. But the past 2 years have been very slow because of strikes and everything coming back from that and whatever bullshit. So I've been obsessing over it heavily for the past year because it's like, okay, cool, I can spend time right now for a very low investment to get so prepared for this. Oh, I can see land significantly now. Big mountain over there to the right. Yeah, like I'm obsessed enough to where I'm pretty happy with what my thought processes and stuff are. Yeah, cool, you ruin the machine, but as long as you told somebody, so when you don't put anyone in danger, then it's fine, we have insurance for a reason. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it sucks. The dude from the helicopter podcast was saying that when he was working line service at Hillsborough, which is the big school, I feel like most helicopter pilots have heard of Hillsborough because it's like one of the biggest helicopter schools in the world, up in Oregon. He said he was doing line service there when he was younger, and he bumped the tail rotor on a 206 with like a fuel truck or something one day. And he's like, it sucked, I had to go tell the guy, but the owner of the helicopter is like, you know, this sucks, I gotta go send this in for an inspection, it's gonna cost some money, but thank you for telling us. And like, that's the way it should be. Like, that's, I don't give a fuck if I get fired from somewhere. If I do something that's going to affect somebody's safety, especially if I hide it, I'm gonna say something, because I'd much rather not have that sort of thing on my conscience. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to lose any sleep when I PvP fucking own you. Whenever one of y'all show up to one of the fly-ins, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. But, you know, I'd much rather, aviation-wise, I'd much rather, you know, be happy with everything and not necessarily be concerned with other people doing stuff. I want to make sure that the culture and the attitude and everything's right. Yeah, insurance exists for a reason. You know, a lot of fucking insurance companies on stuff like that, it's not something that raises rates, you know, it's super rare. I mean, if it's like a big sign of negligence and it happens over and over again, they'll raise the rate, but usually it's not like it's a big thing that's costing fucking thousands and thousands of dollars a year. Oh, I'm ready for this flight to be over. I was debating on doing, like, I'd marked a couple of airports, like here or something like that, to kind of put us further, but I've got to do my thing tomorrow morning, or tomorrow morning into the afternoon-ish, and I'd rather get some sleep for that, so it'll be a short stream. What we'll do, we'll land, we'll go set up shenanigan at my local airport just to see if we can get the 20, or the, I guess 212, but the Huey running, and the fly inside 206 to see if we can get those doing anything appropriately. And of course, I know by the time I go do that, we'll have like 50 fucking people jump into the stream whenever I'm trying to get off, like last night. We're now, what, 32 miles from the airport? Not bad. Definitely within 26, 25 miles from land over there. Doing good, doing good. Different setup with the autopilot tonight, but no big deal. Just gotta remember to hit that manual trim button so we don't get fucked when we're trying to land and screw up this whole flight. Like, I want to test some of the other functions of this tablet too, but I don't want to crash the game. I know this particular helicopter crashed 2020 a few times for me, so I don't want to risk it. Not worth it. But I want to say there's like a music app and stuff like that that you can get. Which we'll just look, but I think you have to have the different app running with it. Event tracker, no idea. Direction finder, I think that can, like a navigation thing. Radio, hype online, Flappy Bird, EFB Connect, web, a METAR thing, alarm, sound mixer. Yeah, there's some different things, but either way, I'm hoping that it'd be nice to get another job before that show comes back, just to help fill time. But I actually might start doing the headlight thing just because I can make $1,000 a day if I push. Just a matter of selling it to the right people. I should actually try to learn the leather repair stuff as well, because that's a solid add-on. Like, hey, these little things that just help a car sell better, I can do all of it. And another thing called framing as well, not in the construction manner, but when it comes to detailing cars, to most people just wash it and wash the outside, but to frame it is to go find all the little nooks and crannies and stuff that are visible from the outside, like wheel wells, and behind the wheels if they have like a bigger open alloy or whatever. And then you do framing on it, which is cleaning those up and shining all the little parts that aren't necessarily something that you get with like the basic used car salesman wash. But if you can offer a headlight cleaning for $100, and you got a little quick framing service on where you have like all the plastic cleaners and shit like that, and then if you have leather repair on top of that as well, that's a pretty good little thing that you can offer used car dealerships, where for $200 and an hour's worth of work with you and one employee, you know, you can both make $100 an hour. Of course, you wouldn't pay them that, but you would still pay them well because they're doing the same fucking work as you are. I should look into writing up a little brochure and making a little video and website and stuff for that. That'd be a neat thing to do, and I'm sure he would enjoy that too, because he's a cool kid. He's fucking tall. He's 13 years old, but he's like 5'8" or 5'9" already. But it'd be very good summertime money for him, for me as well, during the slow times. And then even with the film job, you know, a lot of days, you know, I may work 2 days a week. Sometimes no days a week. It was not a gun-heavy show, or not a gun-heavy episode. Well, I'm trying to make them bring me in for more prop stage just to keep me more consistent. Because I have another gig that shows up and they're like, hey, we want to use you 5 days a week and we're filming for 4 months. Guess what? 5 days a week at 4 months worth of employment's worth like $65,000, $70,000 to me. I'll gladly take it. Versus nice to have 7 months of employment with this show, but if they're only using me 2 days a week, it's not quite 5 days a week. The money don't add up. Let's slowly start tacking ourselves down some. trying to keep it at 500 feet a minute. So we're 20 miles or so from shore. Which our runway should be right over here on the island. We're not back there on that shit. We're on this island here, I believe. Mm-hmm. So what was y'all's favorite bit of water that we flew over today? That's the big question for the stream. I know I had a favorite. I don't even know if we're there yet. I think it's going to be this last piece of water we fly over before landing. Oh yeah, the blue part. That was a good part. I really enjoyed the bluer water. I don't know why I didn't think about that. It really did leave an imprint on me when we were flying over. The best part about it is it wasn't fucking brown like all the water in India. Ugh. I wonder if the water does. I think y'all can see it. I think I can see it on the stream. But the like the grid lines that we can kind of see the water doing in some angles or whatever. See, the controller did it again where it clicked the fucking button here, then like kept holding down the click. Gotta be careful with that fucking thing, especially when running the when running one of the hypes here. Still doing 140 knots, not bad. Slowly going down. Northland there, thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Maybe in another 28 episodes. Who knows? But if it's sooner than that, then that's even cooler. Yeah, our airport should be right near the tip of the thing there. Or no, I think it's more of the water, probably there. Downwind, yeah, like that fucking means anything to me here. We just coming in right there, or we'll swoop around. We'll do like a right downwind, short approach sort of thing, midfield approach. So what's the name of this fucking place again? Who knows? Whiskey Alpha Echo Echo. Or it should be in the description. Sultan Babullah. Sultan Babullah Tower. This is helicopter. November 420 Whiskey. What? 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. Call sign Fuckwagon. We are 10 miles to your north, inbound for the ramp. We're going to do a right midfield approach. A right traffic midfield approach, sweeping in. It'll be super cool. You guys are going to love it. I started looking at the fucking letters here. I had to fucking pause and think about it. Coming to 25 hunting now. Dude, how wild would it be living somewhere where it's like, okay, cool, well, there's also kind of fucking volcanoes everywhere. Gonna slowly take re-control over my cyclic here. Okay. Heading IS. Oh, manual trim release. Get rid of that fucking thing. Now we are cruising. Or 51 knots, because I'm controlling it now. What's up, boys? Start swinging a little bit closer to the hill over here, because like I said, we're doing a right traffic, swinging over the runway. Gonna be super. Actually, Sultan Babullah. We're gonna change that to a left traffic so we can do it more on the mountain. Leave your runway clear. Two hours, 50 minutes, excluding a little shit. Yeah, not bad. Boring flight, but easy-ish night. Got things to do tomorrow. With that said, I don't know if we're going to be on tomorrow or not. If so, you'll see me. If not, you won't see me. Easy as that. Gotta keep them guessing, you know? I'll be happy once we hit the ground in South America. That'll be the big moment. Because other than like lakes and maybe doing a little jump from like the northern bit of South America instead of going all the way to the western side to go up the little Panama area, maybe we'll do like a little water jump just to kind of speed up there. Other than that, that should be our last big water crossing, doing the Bahamian and Caribbean island type chains. So I look forward to that. Then we'll just have like Walking on Sunshine playing for the rest of the stream, the remaining 10 days after we hit South America. I see you commented something about the flight that you'll be on for your trip. I'll acknowledge that. Just say, why is there an X on your runway? Maybe it's only an approach from the other side. That would make sense. God, this handles so much better without that trim bullshit. Let's see where I want to sit down at. Okay, all the way over here. Sick. Catching the wind during my turn. I can feel it. I'm going to throw a lot more right pedal. A little bit of drift. Whatever. Welcome to Sultan Babullah. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Welcome to wherever the fuck we are. Let me look at this honey real quick. Oh, what? You. Oh, we want to look at her. Looks like a bitch. Don't look at me like that. What a cool helicopter. I said, I've been on a 145 kick here recently just because I've been watching some of the like Peepo Helicopter Spotter and people like that on Instagram. ICBAS is probably my favorite 145 out there. I'll be flying on Delta 5084. You're going to track me tomorrow. Atlanta to there. Bombardier CRJ700 Mitsubishi. It was Zuckerberg and fucking like his guru that kind of looks like Bezos. But Bezos is fucking ripped now. What are you looking at? Fuck off. No. I'm trying to look at his tablet. I'm curious what he's looking at. Can I turn around on my shit and see? I'm turning around on my chair here. Oh. Okay. Cyber attack threats. Market watch. Okay. Interesting. Let me turn back around before I kill myself. Okay. Get this straight. Escapa. In flight. So that's our around the world leg for today. Thank you everybody for tuning in. if you would like to see more around the world flying, we'll be back Monday, most likely. Probably not tomorrow. I've got things to do, but who knows? So now in the meantime, we're going to come back to my home airport. Gonna clear it all up. We're going to load in the Huey 205. Saving back. Says departure. Let's give ourselves some daylight. Okay, let me pull up my, I'm not gonna be able to read y'all's stuff for a second. So I've got to pull up my file. TAOG. Let's see, Shift C. Got the flight manual open here. Let's see, before starting engine. Get set up here. Let's move the charger right here. Circuit breakers. Those are all good. Dome light switch set as required. Not worried about that really. I don't even see it, so its fucking position doesn't matter anyways. Pitot switch, pitot heater off. I don't know where anything is in this fucking machine. Those are tanks. That's governor, fuel, low RPM. Let's familiarize ourselves real quick. Chip detector, force trim hydraulics. There's battery generator. That's good. Inverter. Heater. It's at HTR off. Anti-collision lights on. Those are on. Position lights as required. Don't care. NVG. Don't care. Cargo release off. Wipers were off. Cabin heating was off. AC power voltmeter. Set AC. Right there. Main generator switch on. Cover closed. We are on. There we go. No. I want to do the reset thing on it just because. On. Cover closed. DC power. Voltmeter ESS bus. Yep. ESS bus. Starter is on start, not gen. Battery switch on. Shut up. I said off. Okay, we're gonna have to deal with that fucking sound for a bit, so y'all deal with me. Low RPM audio switch off once. Spring loaded to mute warning horn. Well, fire indicator light. Cool, that works. Fuel gauge test. That works. Systems instruments, no failure simulated. So we don't have to worry about that. Governor switch, auto. We're on auto. Shut up, please. De-ice off. Main fuel switch on. Auxiliary fuel switches. Those tanks should be off, and those tanks are not simulated, so we don't need to worry about that. Caution panel lights. Switch test, spring loaded. Need my mouse. Anyways, shut up, please. Oh my god. Hydraulic continuous switch, check on. It's on. Force trim switch, on. Chip detector switch, both should be spring loaded. Flight controls work, altimeters set to field elevation, cool. Fire guard, if available, rotor blades, check they're untied, throttle, set to start. All the way down there. Is there an idle release? There's a fucking idle release, where is it? Why are you at 25%? Shut up. Okay, we're all the way down there. That's that. I was thinking that was a starter switch for a second. Main rotor, that's good. Starter switch, press and hold. The starter switch is on the bottom of the collective. This is where I need to fucking click the button here. Let me check chat real quick to make sure y'all aren't fucking screaming at me for something. Land at your house. Ha! Good try. Okay, let me grab my controller here. Let me go back and read the post starter click so I can make sure I'm good on that. Release at 40% N1. Our main rotor, starter switch, press and hold. Main rotor, check that the main rotor is turning as N1 reaches 15%. If the rotor's not turning, abort the start. Starter switch, release at 40 N1 after 40 seconds, whichever's first. Throttle, slowly advance past the engine idle stop. Manually check the engine idle stop by attempting to close the throttle. N1 at idle is 68 to 72. Inverter switch, main on. And then check oil pressures. So we'll throttle up after getting our N1 correct. Where's my N1 thing? Okay, there's our percent RPM there. That's what we're looking at. Fuel pressure, oil pressures, those are good. Blah, 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 blah. Neat. Okay, let's see if I can hit the starter button down here. Hold this upside down slightly. Let me see if I can see it. This is fucking annoying. Ugh. Oh, crap. So that's our starter switch. Rotor blades turning as we approach 15. At 40, I let go. Click into idle. I know my rotor RPM's low. Thank you. Shit. Oh. Chill, bud. Engine run up, avionics. Oh, I need to do the inverter switch, which is also. Switch main on. Sergeant switch throttle to 100. Systems check. And yeah, so we should be good to fly right now. Should. Sorry, I'm a bit wiggly. I'm readjusting my seat and everything here, but look, we have chip detecting and engine oil hot. Why? 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 Literally, you have no fucking reason to do that. I followed your entire fucking startup thing. Look, flying with a chip detector, but it's going to tell me I'm going to lose engine oil pressure. We're going to lose the engine. I don't have to auto-rotate. Yep. Engine oil pressure. We're about to lose it. So yeah, I follow their system. I don't know if there's a pre-flight thing that I'm missing. I don't know why. Unless they added like pre-flight shit that I needed to do where I try to start this up with a fucking engine cover turned on. But why? Why is it doing that? It's so... Ronnie, what's up? Well, we finished our loop for the day or whatever. We're in the Philippines. And right now we're doing a test on the Huey because it always gives me a chip detector light and engine oil pressure and yep, there we go, lost engine. Hello, rotor inertia. It's nice. So yeah, like I don't get it. I don't know why it's giving me engine oil pressure, chip detector, XM, transmission oil pressure, and transmission oil hot. I don't know what I missed. Like what? I mean, make sure there's no weird pre-flight thing on the outside that I'm missing. Well, you were one off on the Bell classification. Tom was one off on the speed limit. So easy, easy. Tomato, tomato. So yeah, I've got no idea why it's doing that. Make sure there's no pre-flight thing outside that I'm missing. Usually these add-on helicopters don't have a exterior pre-flight that you have to do. Yeah, there's nothing up here. And I don't think there's any transmission related things. Comms, no. I don't know. I need to Matt, on the day I found the channel, you flew a UH-1 at CSG. And that was on Microsoft 2022. That was not 2024. I think that was in 2020. Escape. In flight. Let's try it with the fly inside 206 and see if it plays friendly with us. We're taking this one. Yeah, so I'm not sure what it is. I think I'm part of their Discord. Because a lot of these people have, these developers have Discords. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was in Flight Sim 2020. Because I was doing a handful of 2020 streaming. I don't know why I started streaming, other than I think it was like the mentality of I'm going to be flying around on this thing anyways. There's no downside to me streaming doing it, because I can just fucking talk, because I enjoy talking. It's already taken longer to load in on the fly-in side. Who knows, maybe we'll hop in 2020. No, I don't want to be up too late. It's 12:30. So yeah, already taken longer to load in, so that's an obvious something ain't right. Okay, cool. We're in. What are you doing? What are you doing? So yeah, there's obviously something not right with the fly inside model. Oh. So for some reason the throttle's also my collective. Yeah, I don't want to fucking touch that right now. So yeah, that's the reason why we're not using either one of those. Yeah. So that's that. Don't know why. But with that said, I'm gonna call it a night because, like I said, I've got an early-ish day tomorrow. So I appreciate everybody for being here. We'll see ya later, as those cool kids say. But yeah, thanks everybody for being here. We'll be back tomorrow, or the next day, or something, and we'll be doing more of the things. So adios. Get out of here. Peace.